The all-new Citroen C3, a special world premiere for you, and we're a little bit silent today because the presentation is still running, but we want to show you the car as early as possible, and you can already see it behind me. So this new C3 in the small car segment is today on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the exterior and the interior, and I can promise you already now there are a lot of features we can discuss, and there haven't been so many changes in the small car segment recently. Now there is a change because they're introducing some really interesting highlights this car has, and you can see it right now already. Definitely a really new style. And there it is now, the all-new Citroen C3. All the generations before have been sold 3.5 million times, so really a bestseller for Citroen. And from the 1.2 million cars they've sold in 2015 in Europe, then 1/5 was a C3, so really an important car for Citroen. And you see the new front with those very slim headlights that makes a very dynamic appearance and definitely totally unique. It looks a little bit like a small version of the Citroen C4 Cactus, so there's definitely some resemblance. But I think the biggest selling point for this car will be it's really unique in the small car segment. You see, it's not like any other car. The air bumps have been carried over from the Citroen C4 Cactus. You see this black line there at the side, and also you see a contrasting roof, and this will be also contributing for more color combinations. 36 color combinations in total are available, and you can pick this so-called flying roof, as it seems to be a little bit flying, also in different contrasting colors, in 3 different roof colors. And you know, there are also other contrasting schemes, for example at the side mirrors and stuff. 3.99 meters, so almost 4 meters is the length of this car. That's pretty normal for the small car segment, and it's also important because in some markets you have to be exactly right below 4 meters, you know, for taxation routes. It's, for example, in India it's the case. In the rear we see those 3D taillights. They have this special design where it looks a little bit sculptural, and you see not too much space will be lost inside. It seems, you know, it's quite, you know, from the basic shape that it doesn't leave too much space, for example, with a too flat rear window line or something like that. So overall, I think it's a very interesting car because it can be distinguished from any other cars. Again, 2-color scheme almost everywhere. Even just at the alloys, there's a 2-color scheme with, you know, black and the silver alloys here. So the really interesting design approach they've put on there. And you see those wheel arches. They can also have this crossover look with black plastic fenders, and that's also, you know, a pretty modern thing at the moment. The car's turning at the moment, but what is when the car is turning itself? The turning circle is 10.7 meters, and so you will easily get along in the city by driving this car here, of course. Air bumps in detail, this will be the main Paris driving feature. You see has resistance, and this will protect you against smaller bumps. And then when there will be some scratches, it's easy to replace them. It's of course cheaper than to replace some paint or to repaint the car. And my favorite is the contrasting air bump in the front part. Well, it contradicts the idea a little bit that you have a painted area than here, but you know, okay, let's do it for the design. And a detailed look at the alloys, 2-color scheme here, 17-inch is the size, of course optional. Then, of course, the price will also be raised a little bit. Now we'll get inside, because this is a special color concept, and we can open the car so you can take a look inside. It resembles really the Citroen C4 Cactus with this bench style here. It's, you know, also inspired by older cars. And what is interesting that there will be 4 different color concepts. This one, I think it should be the one called Urban Red, you know, with rather dark colors and those red contrasts, but there are also design schemes which feature brighter colors, and so you can really individualize this car also on the inside. You see also the red contrasts are on the outside and on the inside, and here this air bump structure is also featured on the inside of the car, for example here on the inside of the doors. Then here, again inspired, the door handles inspired for example by luggage, travel luggage. This is also one scheme we already know from the Citroen C4 Cactus. And here, for example, again, contrasting red color. You see the same color on the side mirrors, and I think it's a beautiful concept. It really reminds us of the Citroen C4 Cactus. I think it's good that we also have this here now in the small car segment already. The seating position, it's really kind of a sofa style, and you have a lot of way to move around, so it's not for sporty customers. Headspace, still left above my head. I'm 1.86 meters, if you don't know it yet, 6'1". And what is also interesting and newly available here now, I think it wasn't the case in the C4 Cactus, you can adjust the steering wheel. It's a good mechanism, it's soft to release beneath the steering wheel. Then you can move it up and also pull it towards you, and it's all working very smoothly. So it's good that they have integrated that, you know, and can also smoothly fix it. So would be sitting like this, you know, and what I'm also realizing, it's a rather high seating position. It has some kind of crossover style already, and that's very interesting. Although I'm really at the lowest point with the seat, but you can also pump it up right here a little bit. Cockpit overview here, and it's a completely new design. You see horizontal lines here, especially with the red contrast again. And what we can see here, well, this one here is hard plastics, but we see a lot of interesting materials. For example, here there's this kind of cloth surface, and it proves my point that you can create high-class interior also without genuine leather. There will be leather red, for example, as covers available, and also different cloth types. This feels very soft and also creates this kind of cozy living room atmosphere. Also, again, the special vented design that matches the air bump form. That's also a nice idea, definitely. There's this new 7-inch infotainment screen for the C4 Cactus. We know the screen already on the models. We are in Lyon for the world premiere here today, so you can zoom in and out like with a smartphone. Also, they have improved, the responsiveness of the screen. It could be a little bit better still. You almost control everything in here, and it's of course a question if you like it to control the vents here, but for a vent control that is put in the digital screen, it is fairly easily done, so you won't have bigger problems with that, although I prefer a vent control with a knob, for example. You will be able to connect your phone via Bluetooth, that is possible, and there will also be the Mirror Link app where you connect your smartphone then with the USB, and then you have the smartphone interface directly on the screen, for example Apple CarPlay. I'm not sure if it works here on the demo car. I will check that out very soon as well. And here you can check some vehicle informations, like you can deactivate stop and start. That is a great function that you can also deactivate it, because I don't really like this function. I'm also not sure if it's really good for the environment. And music, you can, for example, play the radio or also with USB. This is one knob here for the volume control, that is still as a knob, and those ones are mandatory. They have to be there by law. Everything else is here inside. And I like that you have used this, chrome frame. It's a good and solid structure overall. This was quite classy, and it's also good that it's not way up high there, because then it would look a little bit attached. A start-stop button, I also like that. Very clean design. Of course, we're still in a small car segment, so we can't expect high-class materials everywhere. So we got a lot of black plastic still here. But it doesn't need to be necessarily just bad. A USB slot is in the lower part, as well as a 12-volt power supply here in the rear. There we can open it. And also you can see which gear is actually put in. And there will be a sport mode and the winter mode to reduce or to increase the throttle input you have here. This one here is also a look into the future, because for this engine, I can already tell you right now which engine we got here. It's the 110 horsepower petrol engine, a 3-cylinder. And this one will be available with the automatic gearbox that we can see right now. But you cannot, I think, not order it right now. It will come a little bit later. Most of those start with a manual gearbox, and that's also a good reason, because this is a true automatic converter gearbox. So it's EAT, it's called, not the ETG. That one would be the manual automated transmission. Glad they don't use it anymore here in this car, because that's not, a pleasant feeling. But usually with a manual gearbox, all engines are starting. So for example, get petrol 70, 80 or 110, or the diesel was 75 or 100 horsepower. Petrol 3 cylinders, diesel 4 cylinders. We'll also take a look beneath the hood very soon. And back to the interior, the new steering wheel also resembles the cactus form, for example, right here, again with those holes in the form, and quite solid steering wheel. And what I really like about this car, as in back in the days the 2CV introduced, the 2 chevaux, this is really unique. I mean, you can argue if you like it or not, but it's really unique, and I like that. So let's try to plug in an iPhone just as a smartphone example. It also works with the Android. Then it says, oh, Peugeot Carline 9. I see that. Of course, they share the parts in the whole corporation. That's just a natural thing. And it's here. Then we have the CarPlay available. You see, this is then my smartphone. It is mirrored. I can use the phone, for example, or also listen to my favorite music. I'm this trance guy. And then this is the button here on the part that is representing the normal menu button. So you can check that one out, or also access your maps. And you can also use the GPS system from your smartphone. If you have internet connection, then that is of course mandatory for that one here. So good that they have this integration here now. You have to get it optionally, of course, as usual. And the same accounts for the instruments. RPM meter on the right side, speed on the left side, and fuel on the upper part, and then a small digital screen for the digital speedometer in the middle part. And again, with this special look, a bit squarey, but then with rounded edges. So really a unique style. And one special thing, they say it has the biggest glove box in the segment. Wow, and that's really the case. You can almost put a football in there. So really interesting glove box. Another test for the rear leg space, and that is, not the favorite discipline of this car. You've seen how it was in the Honda Jazz. It was the same length, but we had had this space even left in front of my knee. So this is not the best for this car. The seats are quite bulky because they're very soft as well. So that might add comfort for the front passengers, but it reduces the space for the rear passengers. So this is maybe the biggest flaw of this car. It doesn't have hardly any space for the rear passengers, mainly for kids. Headspace wise, it's also rather limited. I still have a little bit space above my head. There's also a panoramic roof available that lets a lot of light into the interior. Not sure what will have this effect on the head restraint and so on the headspace. The panoramic roof, I think it will be same that in the C4 Cactus that you cannot open it, but it goes through there, and you shouldn't lose space. But you know, I'm also not sure yet if there will be a sunshade available, because in the C4 Cactus it's not. Then it gets really hot, so maybe you will leave out the panoramic roof. That would be my tip. And then we can also flip this bench. I can do it from here as well, because it has this 2/3, 1/3 split. And you can also get the bench from here. There it is. And there's no even loading space, but you know, that can also load everything through the bottom here. And here you can, you know, have it a little bit more versatile. Then it's not possible to flip the seats totally in front. You have to turn it steadily here, the front seats, but you can move it a little bit more to the front. Then you also have some other loading possibilities. Let's look at the luggage compartment. There it is. And I think it was 300 liters. As a high loading cell, and goes further in there. But you know, that also enables you to put more stuff in there. Then you can put this one up. You see, there can be a spare tire fitted in here. You can surely get that one optional. There's no one fitted in here because to reduce weight, there's just a tire replacement kit. But for some, it's very important that you have still the possibility. And you can also flip the seats. You can, for example, grab around here. I cannot release it. No, maybe I can release it. And here there's a bench. It's 1/3, 2/3 split, and then you can release it to have a little bit more space. And of course, you can also release this cover here. You just lift it up here, and then you can also remove the cover lid. So I think for a small car, a lot of space is really used with a rather square layout. So overall, a satisfying impression here from the trunk area. And the look beneath the hood here with with the petrol engine, with the automatic gearbox. Don't be irritated by the cable. This is here for the setup, because it has to have power all the time. But you see, you know, the basic what's happening beneath the hood. We'll also soon have a car outside stand. There we can take a clear shot at the diesel engine. But here, the important thing is that the 110 horsepower petrol engine can be combined with the automatic gearbox also later. And now we've gone outside also to show you another color and also how the car looks in daylight. And you see there will be strong color choices available. This is also one of the unique schemes this car has. So they are really more daring in the color choice. I think that's a good step, because Citroën will not succeed in just being, you know, as perfect or as normal as other cars. They have to have some, you know, unique features to stand out from the crowd. So I think it was a very good decision here. By the way, just as a design detail here now, here we can look how slim those daytime running lights are. And there's really also, you know, a rather seamless design. There's not too much, you know, it's joyful, but not too much playing around, because they've really kept one scheme. And that is, you know, those holes that are a combination of squares with a round shape. And you see also here in the front grille that is kept throughout the car, and I like it when a design scheme is really strengthened and is kept out through the whole time. And one very interesting aspect also, you see it right here, this is a new dash cam, a camera, and 16 gigabytes of storage space inside. And how does it really work, and what about the regulations? Well, first of all, serves the purpose that you can share your photos or 20 seconds videos with your friends. For example, you connect your phone via Bluetooth to the cam, and then you can say to your wife, for example, or to your husband, hey, I'm driving, you know, in the scenic landscape at the moment, and the car takes a photo then through the windscreen. So really a nice feature. And in the case of an accident, it also serves as an integrated dash cam. 30 seconds before the accident was happening, it has been the recording then, and 1 minute after the accident has happened. In Sweden and Austria, it's forbidden. In Germany, it's obviously allowed, and also in the other European countries, because there are still, you know, mixed regulations, and no one is really sure what's happening. Are those, you know, eligible in, you know, at court, for example? So there's no real clear regulation about that yet. Obviously, Citroën was allowed it to place this one here in the most countries. Has something to do because you're mainly using it as a camera for the smartphone when you just take photos, and that the real recording function is only automatic recording function, is only available then for accidents. And that was maybe the clue how they could, you know, bring the allowance of this system. One look underneath the hood. This one here is the diesel, and that one, as I said earlier, 75 horsepower or 100 horsepower, and again 4-cylinder engine. And the petrol ones, those were 3-cylinder then, with different horsepower variants, 70, 80 and 110 as the top version, and the 110 also then has the automatic gearbox optionally, but not the diesel. And you can see what I meant by those interesting colors here. It's hard to describe this color. It has a little bit of a very, very, very bright green. Interesting. Definitely it wouldn't be my favorite, but I think it's good that they offer some different colors as usual. And this is one of the other interior concepts. This one should be the one called Metropolitan Grey, and that is concentrated on the bright colors. Here on the cloth surface, and I really like that, here also cloth surface on the top of the dashboard. Why aren't more manufacturers using cloth as a cover here? It's not expensive, but it's really more worthy than, you know, just using black plastics everywhere. Also, when you take a look at the seats with yellow contrast, and that creates overall, also with the bright parts of the seats, a very warm and cozy atmosphere. I really like that Citroen is using different stylish cloth materials here. That's sustainable, no animal has to suffer, and still it looks really good and fresh. And another color, the cobalt blue, and one man is also the expert on the whole design, and it's Alexandre Morval. He is the design director for Citroen, and I want to know what was the most distinctive part you've undertaken here in this new project, and why is it so different from all the other small cars we see in this segment?
One of the most important things is the proportion. On this car, we have, like we did on the C4 Cactus, we try to have a car that is sympathetic, that is also robust, that is strong. And the front end has a complete different balance to whatever you have in the market today. And with this identity for the headlights, that came with C4 Picasso, I think we have a front end that is quite unique. This is what we believe. And the other thing is, on the body side, the overall balance of the car, it's fairly stable. You know, it's not peaking. So it looks quite cool. It looks quite calm at the same time. So it's the mix between this front end, I would say this strength on the front end, that is also notable on the body side with the crossover feeling, with the black wheel arches, the air bump, and the mix with the dynamism of the roof and the calm of the belt line. So it's this mixture that makes the car, you know, a different character. It's not only one parameter, it's not only just one element, it's the mixture of everything. And then you have the interior.
For the small car segment, it's really a daring design. I think we wouldn't have seen it from other manufacturers, and we wouldn't have seen it from Citroen in the past. Sure. So what has changed now also for the task you got? What has changed in the recent years that you could do such a thing right now?
See, that's a difficult question. Citroen has changed radically. A complete different team, complete different people, complete different ambition. And we want to be, you know, one of the freshest car company in Europe, and actually with product that we can sell all over the world. So we try to be quite young, colorful, kind of warm company. Something that in the heritage of Citroen, we want to keep the emotional part of it, the affective part of it. So we're not interested too much in the luxury feeling or that we leave to DS. We are really with this new C3, really in our mood, in our spirit. So I guess all these things makes the car, you know, Citroen, the new Citroen somehow.
Let's all take a look.
To explain, sorry.
No problem. Let's all take a look on the interior, because I was really pleased to see a lot of different cloth textures there, and also with you know, bright colors. And we've seen with other brands they use like leather. Everything that looks, you know, different is already leather. Here you find different approaches to that. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more, and also about this special interior we can see here.
Yes, the approach in color and trim is extremely important. If you follow the trends in furniture design, if you see what, for example, the brothers Bourlec are doing, or if you go in some showrooms, the luxury so far, you know, they're not necessarily done with leather. Leather is somehow quite ordinary now. What we like is the combination of leather with something, like we've done, like, you know, on the other car with this warm color. This one is only textile, because for us it's younger, fresher. And anyway, it's also a question of how do you say? Sorry.
Maybe you can show us directly here the different parts, and also you know, they have special names as well with the interior levels. You know. No, but it's no problem because I got the names.
You got
so
the
it's
names?
it's Urban Red, Hype Colorado, or Metropolitan Grey.
This is the Metropolitan
Grey
Grey
as well. It's right red. Yeah. So this one conveys a bright interior feeling then, and also with contrast stitches.
Yeah, it's very light, bright in a sense that we have stitching that is yellow plus this textile that is on the dashboard very, very, I wouldn't say bright, but with a lot of luminosity.
And from the product director of Citroën, Xavier Peugeot, we want to know why develop this car here right now, and why did you choose, you know, the way to be very much different from the others? Because it's also a little bit daring. Usually the market maybe not always, you know, responds to a daring design.
Citroën is just restarting a new story. We want to be a mainstream player in the car industry, but we also want to bring something to the market. We want to bring freshness, modernity, and we also want to be loyal to our roots, to our genes, to our DNA. And the Citroën story has been built on comfort and on audacity, boldness, capacity to be different. This is the story which we want to restart, and I think that the new C3 is a good evidence of this new strategy.
What have you done as for sustainability, you know, a very growing subject in the automotive world, and what's also lying ahead there in terms of sustainability?
So this car is obviously equipped with the PureTech engine, which is, as you know, for the second year in a row, the European Engine of the Year. So it brings obviously the best performances in terms of consumptions and emissions, and this will definitely help the concrete results of this new C3.
You have also developed the e-Mihari, so that one brings electric engine as well. Would it also be conceivable for the C3? So because, you know, they obviously share some parts, don't they?
So for the time being, our intention is not to launch another version. We've got petrol engines, we've got diesel engines, but in the near future, we don't know. We will just launch 3 additional cars in the next 18 months to completely reinforce this restart of the Citroën brand.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous.
Au revoir.
Vielen Dank.
Linda Jackson, CEO of Citroën, is now here with me, joined us on Autogefühl as well. And you know, me as an automotive journalist, it's also my task to challenge you, of course. And therefore, the first challenging question, I know it's not, but if someone just says, oh, this one here, the new C3, is just a shrinked Citroën C4 Cactus, just a smaller Cactus, what would you say?
I would say, well, you're wrong. I would say that we've taken the spirit of Cactus, and the spirit of Cactus is about taking a design that is different, that stands out in the crowd. It's about taking the Cactus idea of comfort and space inside, and some of the clever things we did in terms of design, so we could create that more space, more glove box space, etc. And it's also taken useful technology with a touchscreen. But then we've taken that spirit and we've made it into a true, what we believe is going to be a blockbuster B-segment car, and we've added things to it. So I would say you're wrong, but you're also right, and we've taken the spirit of Cactus.
So Citroën used to be a brand, you know, that was at some time even leading in the premium segment, and that was really a leader of innovation. What will you do now that maybe at some point you will get on this track again?
Yeah, we've always had innovation, and indeed, you know, our logo is creative technology. And if you take this new vehicle, it has technology. It has technology, it has innovation. It's, you know, we're the first manufacturer to put the connected cam inside the car, as an example. And, you know, I think innovation and technology for Citroën as we move forward is all about around how we create comfort and a feeling of well-being when you get into the car. Clearly there will be driver's aids, for example, autonomous vehicles. We're already, as part of the PSA group, testing autonomous vehicles. It's in a C4 Picasso, for example. So they will be available for the brand. But I think, you know, in terms of Citroën moving forward, one of the main things that I wanted to be talking about in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, will be around comfort. And, you know, we have a bit of a history at Citroen in comfort. Suspensions, very famous. We were famous for the hydraulic suspension. We've just announced a new technology, a modern technology, more efficient, which we'll be able to put across the whole range, which will create that Citroen ride. But comfort then becomes also about the seats. How do we make the seats more comfortable? How do we make the ride more comfortable? How do we create more space? You know, Cactus, we designed the airbag in the roof so we could have an enormous glove box. For me, our technology, our innovation will be around that subject of comfort, so that when you open that door of a Citroen, you want to jump in.
One last question, just a very short one. If you pick one favorite, very small detail about the new C3, what would it be?
Oh, wow, that's difficult.
Just personal for you.
Personally for me, I love the look of it outside. I mean, I love the interior, I love all of the technology, but I think it's freshness. It's the fact that you can personalize it. You can have, you know, a combination of about 36 different things with the roofs and the colors of the body. And I think it's just the freshness. It's something different. It's modern. And for me, it's the start of a new era for Citroen. And that's probably why, for me, the first look is the greatest, most important thing.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's it with the new Citroen C3 here, the exclusive coverage for you from the world premiere. I really like the design. I mean, it's probably some love or hate design, but I really love it because it so stands out from all the other cars in this segment. And I like it when cars are not boring. This one, you know, brings a lot of freshness indeed into this segment. And also with clever variants like the air bumps, very good for driving in Paris, for example. The interior also, I think, is really great that they set the tone mostly on the using of the gloss material, but still in the very great color choices. So good job they've done there, definitely. And you see, there's a lot of interest also from other journalist colleagues for this car. Just, you know, the using of space on the interior is mainly focused on the driver and the co-driver seat. Space in the rear, that is really not that good, so that's the least favorite part of this car. I really look forward to driving that one, especially with the new automatic gearbox in the strongest petrol engine. That would be my choice then. Of course, I would like to hear your opinion on exterior and the interior. Which colors would you go on exterior and interior? And do you like the style of this new car? And what do you think? Will it be successful? We'll soon see that. And I will see you at the next Autogefühl episode. Thank you very much for watching.